The idea that Europe is experiencing a civilizational decline sparks passionate debates across the continent. Some see it as a warning sign, while others dismiss it as exaggerated doom and gloom. This topic is especially controversial because it touches on questions of identity, culture, and the future of European society. Despite the disagreements, discussions about decline often influence political decisions and shape public opinion. So, why does this debate matter so much? Let's take a closer look. Some thinkers argue that Europe is undergoing a profound transformation, sometimes described as a societal erasure. They point to changes in demographics, culture, and politics as signs that traditional European identities are fading. Prominent voices in this debate include authors, political commentators, and academics who warn of declining birth rates, increased migration, and shifting values. These ideas persist because they tap into widespread anxieties about change and uncertainty. Whether you agree or not, the conversation continues to shape how people think about Europe's future. Civilizational decline refers to the idea that a society or culture is losing its strength, values, or influence over time. People often worry that important traditions, knowledge, or achievements might be fading away. This concept can stir up strong feelings because it touches on our sense of identity and belonging. Politically, it's a hot topic, since different groups may blame each other for the supposed decline or use the idea to push for change. It's a bit like arguing over who lost the TV remote. Everyone has an opinion, and things can get heated quickly. Let's start by looking at Europe's changing population. Imagine a crowd of stick figures, but fewer babies and lots more grandparents. Low birth rates mean there aren't enough young folks to replace the older generation, and that's got some people worried. They say this shift could put European identity and the economy at risk, like a teetering stickman pyramid missing its base. It's a big topic, with plenty of arrows pointing to both challenges and opportunities. Across Europe, birth rates have been steadily declining, with many countries now seeing fewer babies born each year than ever before. This trend is driven by a mix of factors, including changing lifestyles, economic pressures, and shifting priorities among younger generations. As the population ages and the number of children decreases, future generations could face unique challenges, such as supporting a larger elderly population. The effects might include changes to the workforce, social services, and even the way communities are structured. It's a big topic, but don't worry. Our stickman is here to help us break it down, one simple line at a time. As the population ages rapidly, society faces some interesting challenges. Social services like healthcare and elder care will need to stretch further, supporting more people for longer periods. Pension systems might start to feel the squeeze, as there are fewer workers contributing and more retirees drawing benefits. The workforce itself could shrink, leading to potential labor shortages and a need for creative solutions. It's a bit like trying to balance on one leg, tricky but not impossible with some smart planning. Some people worry that when a country's population shrinks, it might lose important pieces of its culture and identity. With fewer people, traditions like festivals, languages, and even favorite foods might not be passed down as easily. Imagine a stickman trying to juggle all his family's customs, but with fewer hands to help. Over time, this can make it harder for a nation to keep its unique character. These concerns highlight why demographic changes spark big conversations about the future of society. Mass migration has become a central topic in today's discussions, especially when considering how many people are moving and where they're coming from. Recent immigration waves aren't just large in number, they're also incredibly diverse, bringing together cultures, languages, and traditions from all over the world. This mix creates both opportunities and challenges for communities. Understanding the scale and variety of these movements is essential to grasping the bigger picture in the ongoing debate. Let's take a closer look at some common concerns people have about multiculturalism. Integration can sometimes feel like a tricky balancing act, as communities work to blend different traditions and languages. Social cohesion is another hot topic. Folks wonder if too much diversity might make it harder to feel united. And of course, there are worries that cultural differences could lead to misunderstandings or even tension. But with a little flexibility and a lot of open-mindedness, these challenges can often turn into opportunities for learning and growth. Some people argue that mass migration can lead to noticeable changes in the cultural and religious landscape of European societies. As new groups arrive, they may bring different traditions, languages, and beliefs, adding new layers to the social fabric. This blending of cultures can sometimes spark debates about identity and values. While some see these changes as enriching, others worry about the potential loss of familiar customs. It's a topic that often inspires strong opinions on all sides. Some people worry that migration might weaken a country's sense of identity or unity. They argue that newcomers could bring different customs or languages, making it harder for everyone to feel like part of the same team. However, evidence shows that many societies adapt and even grow stronger by embracing diversity. Shared values and open communication often help communities stay connected, even as they change. So, while migration can bring challenges, it doesn't automatically mean national unity is at risk. Sometimes, it just means the team gets a few new players. Public policy plays a crucial role in shaping how societies manage migration and help newcomers integrate. Good policies can open doors to education, jobs, and community life, making it easier for migrants to settle in and contribute. Sometimes, though, policies miss the mark, leading to confusion, barriers, or even resentment on both sides. There have been notable successes, like programs that teach language skills or help people find work quickly. But there have also been failures, such as policies that unintentionally isolate newcomers or make it hard for them to participate fully in society. Let's take a closer look at a growing concern across Europe: the erosion of some of its most cherished values. Principles like secularism, individualism, and democracy have long been considered the bedrock of European society. However, recent debates suggest that these foundations might be showing a few cracks. Some observers worry that challenges from within and outside are putting these ideals to the test. So, what exactly is happening to these core values, and why does it matter? Some people argue that as religious belief has declined in Europe, the continent has lost a shared moral compass. Without the guiding framework that religion once provided, they worry that society may struggle to find common values. Others point out that new forms of unity and ethical understanding can emerge from secular philosophies, human rights, and shared cultural traditions. The debate continues. Is Europe adrift, or simply charting a new course? Either way, the search for meaning and purpose remains a central part of the European story. Some people argue that traditional Western values are being replaced or watered down, raising questions about what it means to be European today. They worry that important cultural foundations like democracy, individual rights, and shared history might be fading into the background. Others see these changes as a natural part of societies evolving and adapting to new influences. The debate often centers on whether embracing diversity strengthens or weakens European identity. In the end, it's a balancing act between preserving cherished traditions and welcoming fresh perspectives. Some people argue that change is simply part of how societies grow and adapt over time. They suggest that new trends and shifting values don't always mean things are getting worse. Sometimes, it's just a sign that people are finding better ways to live together. After all, what was once considered radical can eventually become the new normal. So, instead of seeing every change as a warning sign, it might be more helpful to view it as a natural part of our collective journey. Even stick figures have to learn new moves now and then. Economic stagnation is like hitting the pause button on progress. When growth slows down, countries can find themselves stuck in a rut, with fewer new jobs and opportunities. High levels of debt can make matters worse, as more resources are spent just paying off interest instead of investing in the future. Add in a large welfare state, and governments may struggle to balance support for citizens with the need to encourage innovation and productivity. It's a tricky balancing act, and sometimes, even the best stick figures need a little help to keep moving forward. When an economy slows down for a long time, young people often find it harder to get jobs. With fewer opportunities, many talented individuals might feel stuck, unable to climb the social ladder. Innovation can also take a hit, as fewer resources are available for new ideas and startups. Over time, this can lead to a cycle where it becomes even tougher for the next generation to break through. It's a bit like trying to run a race with your shoelaces tied together. Progress is slow, and the hurdles just keep piling up. Some people argue that generous welfare systems simply can't keep up with changing times. As populations age and fewer workers support more retirees, the math gets a little tricky. Add in economic slowdowns or unexpected crises, and the strain on public funds grows even bigger. Critics worry that, without adjustments, these systems might run out of steam or cash just when they're needed most. It's a balancing act that leaves many policymakers scratching their heads, and maybe even a stick figure or two looking a bit puzzled. Let's take a closer look at whether economic challenges are a special feature of Europe, or if they're part of a bigger worldwide pattern. On one hand, Europe faces its own set of hurdles, like energy supply issues and shifting demographics. But zooming out, we see that many countries around the globe are also grappling with inflation, supply chain disruptions, and changing job markets. So, while Europe's problems might have a local flavor, they're definitely not alone at the economic buffet. It seems economic ups and downs are a group activity, not just a European solo act. Not everyone agrees that history is just a story of decline. Some historians and social scientists argue that, while challenges exist, societies often adapt and even thrive in new ways. They point out examples where innovation, resilience, and cooperation have led to progress rather than downfall. By examining different periods and cultures, these experts remind us that the future isn't set in stone. It's full of possibilities, stick arms wide open. So, before we jump to gloomy conclusions, it's worth considering these alternative perspectives. Throughout history, Europe has faced its fair share of challenges, from economic downturns to natural disasters. Yet time and again, communities have bounced back with creativity and determination. After the Black Death, cities rebuilt and even sparked new advances in science and art. More recently, countries worked together to recover from World War II, laying the foundations for lasting peace and cooperation. These examples show that even when things look stickier than a spilled jar of jam, resilience and adaptation can lead to brighter days. Media headlines and political speeches often have a knack for making everything sound dramatic, especially when it comes to the idea of decline. By highlighting negative trends and using strong language, they can make small problems seem much bigger. This can lead people to worry more than they need to, sometimes even before their morning coffee. It's important to remember that not every alarming headline means the sky is falling. Sometimes it's just a stick figure with a megaphone. Decline narratives or stories suggesting that things are getting worse can have a powerful effect on how people think and act. When these messages spread, they often make the public feel worried or pessimistic about the future. This shift in mood can influence which policies get support, sometimes leading leaders to focus on quick fixes rather than long-term solutions. Even simple stick figures might start looking a little droopy when surrounded by too much doom and gloom. Understanding these narratives helps us see how emotions can shape the decisions that affect everyone. When we look at the idea of decline across Europe, it's clear that not all countries see things the same way. In France, debates often focus on national identity and social cohesion, while Germany's discussions might revolve around economic stability and demographic changes. Italy brings its own flavor, with concerns about youth unemployment and political uncertainty. Meanwhile, in Eastern Europe, the conversation is shaped by recent history and rapid transformation. Each country's unique experiences and priorities mean that the decline debate takes on a distinct character wherever you go. When we look at Europe's challenges, it helps to compare them with what's happening in other parts of the world. For example, while Europe faces economic slowdowns and energy concerns, the United States often deals with different issues like inflation or political polarization. Meanwhile, countries in Asia might focus on rapid growth and technological innovation, but also face their own unique hurdles. By examining these international differences, we can better understand Europe's position and perhaps even spot some clever solutions. Sometimes, seeing how others handle their stickiest problems can spark fresh ideas back home. The civilizational decline debate is full of lively disagreements. Some argue that societies are steadily losing their values, creativity, or cohesion, while others believe these claims are exaggerated or cyclical. There's ongoing discussion about whether economic challenges, cultural shifts, or technological changes are to blame, or if they're just part of normal ups and downs. At the heart of it all, people can't quite agree if we're witnessing a real decline or just another chapter in the long, twisty story of civilization. Now let's equip ourselves with a handy critical framework. This means we'll look closely at the evidence, ask thoughtful questions, and weigh the arguments on both sides. Think of it as giving your brain a magnifying glass and a detective hat. With these tools, you'll be ready to spot strong points, weak spots, and everything in between. That way, you can make up your own mind with confidence and maybe even a little style. Understanding this debate is more than just an academic exercise. It shapes the direction Europe will take in the coming years. The choices made today can influence everything from economic stability to international cooperation. As Europe navigates its future, these discussions ripple outwards, affecting global politics and alliances. So, whether you're a stickman or a world leader, keeping an eye on this debate helps you see where the lines and arrows are pointing next. And that's a wrap. Our stickman friend reminds us that staying curious and asking questions is always in style. Keep seeking out new information and don't be afraid to challenge what you think you know. And if things ever get a bit too serious, remember, a quick dance break can work wonders. Stay sharp, stay informed, and keep those stick arms moving.